made the area vulnerable to mining and clay digging, which continues despite efforts to reinforce the retaining structures beneath the bridge when it collapsed less than a decade ago. The undermining of the soft soil is one of the reasons destruction appears imminent.
I have lived here all my life. I was unaware of this place having a clay soil until youths around started mining and digging the clay. This alone can cause threats to the environment. We are asking for help to authorities. We cannot do it alone. We've done all we could, yet we do not have the help we need.
Days ago, I met a guy digging out the clay, and I told him he had done enough. I told him to stop digging because the place is dangerous. The other day, he went on to remove the clay. As he was doing so, the place collapsed and he was afraid to come again.
With homes now showing signs of physical displacement, residents are calling on the government and other organizations concerned for immediate intervention before disaster happens.
And now, in a vibrant ceremony, the inauguration of the newly elected Community Management Association CMA executives across 4 coastal clusters marked a milestone in Sierra Leone's commitment to sustainable coastal governance. The event, graced by community leaders, government officials, and partners, was more than a formal swearing-in, and Esther Sako has more.
Newly elected Community Management Association executives received official ID cards and branded shirts symbolizing their leadership roles in coastal communities. Acting Country Director Gold Sierra Leone Getsu Debala, in his inaugural speech, underscored the weight of responsibility bestowed on the CMA's executives, urging them to lead with integrity and pride.
Through their leadership, we will strengthen the bonds between clusters, promote responsible resource use, and safeguard the rights of every fisher, every farmer, every trader and youth who depends on these shores or waters. Let us remember, sustainable coastal management is not the work of one person or one group. It is a collective effort.
For many coastal residents, the inauguration signals hope and a tangible step towards preserving the environment and securing their way of life. Beshe Kabia, a seasoned master fisherman, expressed gratitude for the initiative, noting how it curtails destructive fishing practices that have long threatened the local ecosystem. Asma Jallo, coordinator Blue Economy Projects Gold Sierra Leone, said the initiative is part of the Blue Economy Project supported by the Ministry of Fisheries and other partners, which includes trainings, safety equipment, and tools for timely response to coastal emergencies. She stated the broader initiative involves training teams, monitoring mangrove protection, and curbing illegal fishing.
These boats are not for fishing, as I already told them just now. These are not for fishing. They are there for rescue. We expect them to use this as it is. And then for the CMA, the ID card, the accreditation that was given to them today is not a sign of going to cause issues or fighting. It's a sign of ownership, governance, wherein if you saw someone doing bad practices, you will not go and fight those people.
Community elder and monitoring officer Masire Kabia urged responsible leadership, calling on CMA members to avoid abuse of power and to protect children from dangerous fishing practices. An highlight of the event was the handover of boat engines to support emergency rescues during the raining season. Members of the rescue team who received the items expressed appreciation, pledging to use it for its intended purpose.
We extend thanks and appreciation to the Ministry of Fisheries for giving we the short accreditation we at least will get the ID card. And also we send the thanks and appreciation again to Gold Sierra Leone for giving this short opportunity, then giving the engine for that this will be able to rescue and also shot for any accident at the sea.
Representatives from NDMA and NPAA and other partners stress the urgency of protecting mangroves and reducing disaster risk tied to human activities. The event climaxed with expressions of gratitude and a united commitment to safeguarding the coast through community-led governance, ensuring that Sierra Leone's coastal areas are both protected and prosperous. Slbc News, Esther Sako reporting.
The Legal Aid Board Sierra Leone has ended a training session with its lawyers on the new Criminal Procedure Act, which becomes operational on the 16th of September this year. During the training, the Executive Director of the Legal Aid Board advised her lawyers to be conscious of the new procedural period, alternative sentencing, and work as a team to achieve their goals. Now, Sulman Babaturi was there and has more.
The time the matter is committed to the High Court, as a defense counsel, you already know what you'll be faced with.
Come September 16, the new Criminal Procedure Act, repealing and replacing the 1965 CPA, would become effective. The training, according to the Executive Director, Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board, Fatmata Clara Carlton Hansels, was thus to prepare the Legal Aid Board lawyers as defense counsels on defense mechanisms, procedural approach like cases commencing at the magistrate court, and as well as the new and removed laws in the Act. She admonished them to pay attention to the provision on the competence and compellability of spouses, work as a team, and have a talk with their judges on pending cases under the 1965 Act before the new Act becomes effective.
This Act is not retroactive. It comes into effect on the 16th of September. It's not retroactive. So those cases under 65, the question is how far have the courts gone with each of those cases? They're going to have to meet as court administration to look at their own issues.
Former Ombudsman of Sierra Leone, Francis Gabidon, advised the lawyers to focus on the purpose of the Act, procedures, bail options, handling clients with unsound mind, and to read the new Act together with the old Act for better understanding. The trainees were educated on the sentence alternatives, provisions for protection of vulnerable witnesses, procedural channels from police to court and to the correctional center, courts that handle various types of cases, committal hearing in private and not in court, evidence and witnesses, among others. The lawyers trained were indeed excited for the impactful knowledge gained.
Important because there are certain provisions which are included in this new Act which are not in the old Act, considering firstly the issue of trials. Now, in fact, there are days that are being numbered for committal proceedings.
The Executive Director of Sierra Leone Legal Aid Board promised to extend the training to non-lawyers at the institution. Slbc News, Sulaiman Babatue reporting.
Magistrate Solomon Christian Kekora of York Magistrate Court has sentenced one Abubakar Kuroma, aged 18, with 2 years imprisonment for each count of physically and psychologically abusing his 28-year-old stepmother, including sexually harassing her. The 18-year-old will serve a total of 4 years imprisonment in respect of 2 counts, but has also been committed to the High Court for the offence of grievous bodily harm. From the courts, Mohammed Kuruma reports.
The convict, 18-year-old Abubakar Kuruma, appeared before Magistrate Solomon Christian Kekura of York Magistrate Court on 3-count charges: grievous bodily harm, domestic violence, which included physical abuse, and domestic violence based on psychological abuse. The said crimes which he committed against his stepmother, according to the charge sheet, on Thursday, 3rd April 2025 at Bobo Community, the convict Abubakar Kuruma entered his stepmother's room when his father was not around, pushed her and threw caustic soda in her eyes. The convict then beat her on the neck and demanded that his stepmother should allow him to have sexual intercourse with her and that she should give him her business money and her phone. Unfortunately, the convict forcefully had sex with his stepmother. Having had the submission of the prosecution and the testimony from both parties, Magistrate Solomon Christian Kekura was satisfied that the prosecution had led sufficient evidence to prove their case. He then pronounced the then accused guilty of domestic violence, which included sexual harassment and domestic violence based on psychological abuse. The magistrate inquired whether the convict had anything to say after he had been found guilty. He said no. Magistrate Kekura therefore sentenced the convict Abubakar Koroma to 2 years imprisonment each for both the second and third count charges, which he should run separately or consecutively. However, Magistrate Solomon Christian Kekura committed the offense of grievous bodily harm to the High Court, stating that his court does not have jurisdiction to hear and determine such matter. For SLBC, Mohamed Kouma reporting.
And now, the Sierra Leone police have in custody 6 suspects for their alleged involvement in the death of Catholic priest Reverend Father Augustine Amadou in Kenema. The same was suspected to be connected with the attack on Nasit's manager John Lamina in Bo. Both incidents happened in August of this year. Suleiman Babature has more.
DPPC overcharge, evidence against, police charge.
Martin Salu, Beshe Soare aka Success, Fode Salu, John Bangura aka Boyka, and Joseph Kamara, popularly known as Shine, were the 5 accused armed robbers alleged to have murdered the Catholic priest Reverend Father Augustine Amara in Kenema on the 30th of August 2025, and the attack on Nasit manager in Bo, John Lamina, on the 28th of August 2025. And Fode Hassan Sise, a receiver of some of the items stolen by the 5 accused. Among the 6, Beshe Soare aka Success, an ex-convict, and Joseph Kamara, popularly known as Shine, another ex-convict, were believed to be among the November 6, 2023 fugitives. It was said that a warrant of arrest has been issued for another 4 accused who are on the run. The Director of Operations, Sierra Leone Police, Martin Senesi, said the Sierra Leone Police has increased security posture and strengthened patrols across the country and its borders. They assured Sierra Leoneans of a collaborative effort to make the country safe.
I want to continue to assure the public that the job of the police is to protect lives and property. This, we are not going to renege on that one. We continue to do our job, continue to make sure that we do our patrols, we have our checkpoints where they should be, and then we continue to go after criminals who are disturbing members of the public.
Giving updates on other issues, the head of the Transnational Organized Crimes Unit, Mohamed Kugbar Aliu, said about 42 Sierra Leoneans have been deported from America for illegal entry. He added that the number is expected to increase to 2,000 by December 2025. SLBC News, Suleiman Babature reporting.
Health experts in Africa and scientists have disclosed the development of 6 Lassa fever vaccine samples, which are currently undergoing clinical trials. This disclosure was made at the ongoing Lassa fever conference in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, and Emmanuel Samoa has more.
Caused by a rat named the Mastomys rodents, Lassa fever was said to be discovered around the 1960s in Nigeria. For over 5 decades, Lassa fever has not only claimed the lives of Nigerians, but other West African nations including Liberia, Sierra Leone, and others due to the movement of humans and other factors. In the over 5 decades, health experts have not been able to defeat it because of its symptoms that are similar to other health conditions. In recent years, health experts, scientists, and researchers have risen to the challenge towards the development of a vaccine. At the second ECOWAS International Conference on Lassa fever, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation disclosed the development of 6 Lassa fever vaccine candidates that are currently on clinical trials.
For vaccine developers progressing the vaccines, and it is also up to very important CEPI as a funder. CEPI is not doing clinical trials. The vaccine developers own the products, they are doing the trials.
Co-chair of the West African Consortium for Clinical Research on Epidemic Pathogens, Dr. Alhaji Njai said the clinical trials the candidates are currently ongoing is to ensure that the vaccines are safe.
You get the vaccine, but to be certain, it has to first go through a clinical trial where you make sure it has the efficacy in humans, so it is effective. It is effective in humans, then it is safe. So the vaccine must satisfy these 2 conditions.
It is one thing to develop a vaccine candidate, but it is another thing for a country or an institution to have the facility for the clinical trials to be done. The Lassa fever lead in the Ministry of Health for Sierra Leone, Dr. Donald Grant, was boastful that Sierra Leone has the facility for clinical trials to be done, looking at the country's experience in Ebola and others.
We've also gone to another level that, we were proudly making mention of, which is genomic sequencing. These are levels that once you begin to reach there, you are not just talking about a virus outbreak or a viral outbreak, but you're also talking specifically which type of virus. You are talking about the strain of the virus that is causing this outbreak. So as a country, we have all of those capacities now.
Both Nigeria and Liberia similarly expressed measures that their countries have put and are currently putting in place for the acceptance of the vaccines in their respective countries.
The high political will that we have in Nigeria, political backing from the Honorable Coordinating Minister, we also have a platform, that's the tax team that was established in 2023 to look into effective Lassa fever vaccine developed.
With the discoveries and commitment made, it is hoped that in the not too distant future, a vaccine for Lassa fever developed in Africa would be introduced to put an end to the deadly virus. Emmanuel Samoa, SLBC.
It houses hundreds of people and accommodates many businesses, yet residents of Mama Beach say there is no well-structured hospital in the community for even basic medical services. They are calling on the intervention of the Ministry of Health and non-governmental organizations. Our intern reporter Donald Mark Benga was there and now reports.
In the serene coastal neighborhood of Mama Beach, a growing wave of concern is sweeping through the community as residents raise serious concern about the unavailability of a proper hospital. Many residents said the unfinished hospital project in the community has left them vulnerable and many forced to travel to the nearby hospital just to seek for medication. One of the stakeholders in the community, Eva Lincoln, said that pregnant women are especially vulnerable in this current situation.
When a pregnant woman is due for delivery, unless we look for a motorbike to take the individual to the hospital even at night, some of the women do experience complications on the road, and some will even die upon arrival.
Community health worker Efwa Texan further explained the constraints they are faced with the community in terms of accessing proper health care.
Them picking they under 5 picking, they small picking. Someday where they go now road and they go and die.
Sometimes, when children under the age of 5 get an attack, we lost them on the way. And sometimes, even after we arrive at the hospital, they refer us to cottage.
Someday na cottage will they reach die.
However, At the heart of their plea for a structured and completed hospital project lies a temporal but unstructured hospital given to the community by the headman. According to residents, the temporal hospital is in no way enough for the community and lacks necessary equipment to function properly.
Okay, here now the service we choose for make labor room.
This is the place we choose to use as delivery room for pregnant women. This is not okay for us. Sometimes we even combine these tables for pregnant women to lie down during labor. We almost do everything in this room, including stitching and bandaging an individual who is injured.
Just because of the hospital will make it, I make we able to provide this side.
FWA emphasized that the challenges are still there even with the arrival of temporal hospital.
And the same thing now they facing back. Guides now one don't get hospital, they facing the same problem.
We are facing the same problems, even though we have this temporal hospital. We normally take the sick to the Tombo Health Center when the nurses and doctors are not around or retire for the day after work. So we are still facing the same issues.
And the same thing back they facing.
As the struggle for a structured hospital continues in Mama Beach, stakeholders and residents in general are calling on governments and organizations to support them in completing the unfinished hospital and provide the necessary equipment for the proper health system in the community.
In Lokotan, Gloucester, in the Western Rural District, residents and bike riders have raised concerns over the deplorable state of the road, which also connects Regent and Leicester communities. Residents say the problem has been lingering for a long time and have since called on governments to help construct the road. Our intern reporter Mariam Kamara was there.
The Lokotan Road in Gloucester is riddled with lots of potholes, posing serious challenges and safety hazards to road users. Samuel Kagbo, a resident of Gloucester community, said the community faces a lot of challenges as a result of the condition of the road. Joseph Koroma, a bike rider, also spoke similar challenges posed by the road.
This road, the challenges,
the challenges on this road are many. People had done several surveys on this road, but nothing has been done so far. A lot of small children use this road to school. We have to patch the holes with stones to make the road passable for our children. Sometimes when we carry passengers, we fall on the road because it is damaged. We are pleading with the government to please help this community by fixing the road.
Fatmata Bangura, another resident, spoke of how the state of the road is affecting the movement of people. She said drivers refuse to drive into the community because of the bad condition of the road.
Even taxis refuse to take us all the way to our destination. The drivers complain about the damaged road and drop us off halfway.
The chief of the local town, Pa Almami Kanu, said the road has been in deplorable condition since the colonial era.
The road has been in this condition since the colonial era. No effort has been made to fix it. It is very difficult for us to access transportation. We have to walk a long way from here to get a vehicle to town.
As the residents and bike riders continue their daily struggle, they are still hoping for better road, and fixing it would finally bring the change they have been waiting for.
And from Lokotan in Gloucester to Moiba in the east part of Freetown, this community is home to thousands, yet its main roads remain in the state of severe disrepair. For over a decade, residents have endured accidents, flooding, and daily discomfort caused by the damaged road, turning what should be public utility into a public hazard. Our intern reporter Aminata Kamara brought us this report.
Moiba community, the largest settlement in the Black Road area of Freetown, is suffering due to a long neglected and severely damaged road. For over a decade, residents say the road has become a death trap posing serious risk to motorists and pedestrians, especially children. Jibrila Bangura, a long-time resident of Mamba Ridge in Moiba, shared his concerns for the road.
Every year we get more than 20 cases then. When the people in the Fodong broke foot.
This road is dangerous. Every year we see over 20 accidents. People break their legs, some suffer permanent injuries, and others slip and fall while walking. I am pleading with the authorities to help us.
We have received countless promises, but nothing has changed. This road has caused so many problems. Vehicles and people often fall down. During the rainy season, flood water flows straight into our compound.
Residents said despite repeated promises, no lasting solution has been provided. As the rains intensify, so does the suffering of traders, bike riders and people who rely on this road every day.
Bike riders here have involved in several accidents, sometimes unintentionally injuring their passengers. The rainy season normally makes things worse, but this is where we earn our livelihood.
Young people in Moiba also see the road as a threat to daily life.
During the rainy season, it's almost impossible to sit outside. Riders splash dirty water on us, and some people fall off bikes and get hurt. We are begging the government to help us. Children and the elderly are most at risk.
Moiba's road is more than just a transportation issue. It is a daily safety hazard. As rains show no sign of abating, so will residents continue to suffer. The call is loud and clear. Moiba needs urgent road intervention before more lives are lost or harmed.
Still on Community Watch, residents of the Mainkino community in Calabar Town have raised concerns over the poor road network in their area and are calling on the government to swiftly intervene. Alhaji Amadou, internal reporter, files in his reports.
In an effort to raise awareness about the deteriorating road condition in the Mainkino community, residents and business owners have expressed major concerns over the poor state of the road, one of the oldest roads in the area. The road has become even more dangerous, posing constant risk of accidents to motorbike riders, pedestrians, and residents in the community.
Normally, it serve me well about 10 to 15 years now, where it is in this deplorable condition.
This road has been in this condition for the past 10 to 15 years. As we are now in the rainy season, garbage is washed away and sharp rocks are exposed, making it very difficult for us to ride.
Within the next few years coming, it will be very difficult for people employ these routes here.
And now as I talk to you, so like we will get them shops there, I will really the strain.
Those of us who own shops here are really struggling due to the deplorable condition of the road. Some of my customers have even told me they won't return because of the road. In the dry season, there is always excessive dust.
Why dry season they come, they engage for dust, like business no go through with dry season they come because I'm more of dust.
The poor road network has caused numerous problems for residents in Mainkino community. They are now calling on government to come to their aid and help them have a good and quality road network.
The Ministry of Finance has begun a national workshop to update the government medium-term debt strategy for 2025 to 2029. The new strategy would reflect the country's improved microeconomic outlook and recalibrate options to reduce the cost and risk of Sierra Leone's debt portfolio. The country last updated its medium-term debt strategy in 2023, and Ibrahim Samura tells us more.
It is with this great optimism and a deep sense of national duty that I hereby declare this national workshop on updating the medium-term debt strategy 2025-2029 officially open.
The updated medium-term debt strategy for 2025 to 2029 will lay the foundation for a more disciplined, transparent, and forward-looking approach to public debt management. It would also support the government's decision on how best to manage its debt and take advantage of long-term instruments. Director of Debt Management, Minister of Finance, Matthew Sandin, underscored the importance of the engagement, stating the document captures the country's improved macroeconomic environment and reduce the cost and risk of the country's debt portfolio.
The medium-term debt strategy of the government of Sierra Leone is the tool that government uses to manage the costs and the risk of the existing debt portfolio that the country have. So to do that, we have a particular framework that we agree with international partners, including the World Bank and the IMF, to update our debt stock. And so the last time we did it was in 2023, when we used the debt stock cutoff point for 2022, and then we did the projections going forward.
Deputy Minister of Finance 1, Kedato Ali, reaffirmed government's commitment to debt transparency, responsible public finance, economic resilience, and the long-term prosperity of the country. Sierra Leone, as she said, since 2023 has made remarkable progress in macroeconomic stability. Inflation declined significantly. Exchange rate has remained stable, among other achievements.
It was a bold step towards ensuring that every Leone borrowed serves the people through investments in agriculture, in education, in healthcare, infrastructure, and livelihoods. However, as any good strategy, it must evolve with time.
The session brought together skillful and experienced coalition of national stakeholders from the Bank of Sierra Leone, Minister of Finance, NRA, BAN, and the University of Sierra Leone. Ibrahim Samara, Freetown.
It's now time for our segments, and we now join the entertainment desk for entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News with me, Abdul Mansari. In this edition of Entertainment News, SLBC profiles Jamil Sisi as he has been laid to rest. Now, Jamil Sisi, who was serving as a barrister and solicitor of law since May 2023, had already established himself as one of the country's promising young legal minds. Beyond his legal career, he was also an entrepreneur, owning a movie production company, Jamil's Mindsets. Earlier this month, he gave up the ghost. His death left tears on many faces, including his family members, friends, colleagues, and loved ones. However, the cause of his death remains unknown. The young man has finally been laid to rest. Jamil was involved in the production of many songs and movies like Taxi, among others.
How many mango don't say?
Now the game don't big pan the party. See all man to pan the party. With the pepper them all. As the music they pepper them all. All man can with your style. Getting it nice now in your style. If you feeling the beat and you feeling the heat, let me hear you say.
Scare you that a woman is where you rather a man should be.
Look this guy by. If you say me na do Samaritan, when you can't sweet ways they no pay me.
You know feature picky so rush. You know that name. You know feature picky. You see me na put out the use go back for meeting.
During the burial ceremony, Brian Kabu, a school days friend to Jamil, spoke about their relationship.
Well, me and Jamil, we got a long-standing personal and professional relationship, if you want to call and so. Because I don't sabi Jamil since 2011
where Jamil go SS1, Prince of Wales School, and then maybe the SS2. When I form an organization called Children in Action for Attitudinal Change, Jamil now be the person who I take as assistant chairman. When I eventually become president of the LNDS, now the same school, I give Jamil also position as assistant chairman. So Jamil now be one picking to mama, myself now one picking to my mama. So they can thing and they be make me and Jamil become closer.
President of Producers Guild Sierra Leone, Agnes Sagawali, also spoke about their 10 years experience.
When we been there in this industry, we meet on one set where we all go for shoots. So later I can find out say he get relationship with my own family. So from then on, the mommy they call me, take all the person. So even my last program, and he be the keynote speaker.
Outside the music studio and movie sets, Jamil was also a public speaker. That was indeed a sad loss to the nation. On behalf of the SLBC's entertainment desk, I extend our heartfelt sympathy to the bereaved family. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Entertainment News, and I've been your presenter, Abdul Mansari. Bye-bye.
That was Abdul Mansari with Entertainment News, and may Jamil's soul rest in peace. Now to end the news, the main points again. In complementing the government's effort in promoting girl-child education in the country, One Girl, an Austrian-based organization, has started distribution of learning materials and sanitary pads to hundreds of less privileged girls in deprived communities in the Western Area and Tonkolili districts. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Jude Jallo has said that revenue mobilization is the cornerstone for sustainable financing for countries with small economies, and therefore there was no better time to look for innovative ways of national revenue mobilization than now. Vice President Jallo was delivering the keynote address at the Bintumani International Conference Center for the commencement of the 2026 financial year budget process. And in the drive to strengthen food security and empower local farmers, the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, through its Food Systems Resilience Program, FSRP, has continued to make remarkable strides across Sierra Leone. Our beneficiaries of the program have shared their success stories, showcasing how the initiative has transformed their lives and reduced the country's dependence on imported rice. Well, that's how we wrap up this morning edition of the news. Have a wonderful day.
this month of Ramadan. Forgive we sins them. Get mercy per we, and save we from hellfire. Save we from pain and sorrow, from hardship and bitterness. Protect we against cruel hearts, disappointment and helplessness. Allahumma, full we heart will the pleasure of Iman, and with the satisfaction of Tawbah, and with the hope of Jannah. Blessed be with success, with faith, with love, with peace and unity, and barakah and gratitude. Ya Rabbal Alameen.
We are the national broadcaster, and I am Sulaiman Baba Toure, a reporter and presenter at the SLBC. Your voice, my voice.
From the commercial department, I am Regina Bangura. You are watching SLBC. Your voice, my voice.
Today is Friday, the 12th of September 2025. It's a pleasant morning and welcome to our breakfast show, Good Morning Sierra Leone. As always, this program starts today with analysis and views on issues of national concern. My name is Francis Barnett. Well, in the program today, we start with our quote of the day, which is from Indian educator Valuable Babe, and it says, "Do not allow yourself to imagine that revolutionary thinking can be propagated by governmental power." I think we have to go into this later on in the program. Well, in the program this morning, Sierra Leone gets new Criminal Procedure Act. Lawyers Society expresses deep concern regarding the ongoing nationwide strike by teachers due to unpaid subsidies. And the Ministry of Finance commences the FY 2026 budget policy hearings for ministries, departments and agencies. These stories plus more are lined up in this edition of the program. You are invited to participate by sending your comments and views to the number on your screen, or you can find us on our Facebook page, Slbc TV Live. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone, and we are broadcasting live from Broadcasting House, New England Ville in Freetown. You are invited to participate by sending your comments and views to the number on your screen on the issues discussed here. Well, we start with our first guest this morning. The Lawyers Society has expressed deep concern regarding the ongoing nationwide strike by teachers in government and government-assisted schools, initiated following the Sierra Leone Teachers Union call for strike action of 3rd September 2025. This call outlines 9 key issues that the union demanded must be fully resolved to end the strike. As a result, the planned reopening of these schools on Monday, 8 September 2025 has been halted. The Lawyers Society is particularly troubled that this strike originates from a suspended strike notice issued on 25th November 2024, which raised unresolved demands including school fee subsidies for the previous academic year and the first term of the current year, as well as the resumption of teaching and learning material supplies, among others. These issues have gone unaddressed by the government for the past 3 years. Well, for more on this, we have the Public Relations Officer of Lawyers Society, Claude Bami Davis, as my studio guest. Good morning, Mr. Davis, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, I'm Francis. Good morning, SLBC. Good morning, viewers.
So, if you listen to my intro, this thing started way back in 2024 November, when the teachers union had their press release talking about reminding government of all their obligations for them to continue to be in the classroom. Why is it now, is it only now that the Lawyers Society is intervening?
Okay, you know that Sierra Leone, first of all, is a signatory to many international treaties talking about the right to education. The Sierra Leone Teachers Union in November 2024 had the strike suspended, okay, because there were negotiations which they thought could come out, could give results to their demands. So that's why they suspended it. We couldn't have said anything at that time because they had accepted to suspend the strike action, waiting for government to address their demands. So that is why we are now particularly pointing out that if the teachers had suspended their strike action in November, this is 9 months down or 10 months down from November, and we're here again in the same position the teachers striking now, not for government not having addressed their concerns. So this is about the right time for lawyer society to come in. Again, I want to say that we have not only come in as lawyer society because we want to come in. It is part of our mandate that we contribute to good governance, the protection of the rule of law and democracy. And as I noted, Sierra Leone is a signatory to many international treaties that talks about the right to education. And our constitution, the 1991 constitution, makes provision in section 9 on the objectives of government in respect to education. There is also the Basic and Senior Education Act, as amended in 2023, sections 3 and 4 talk about education. So on the back of those provisions, those statutory provisions of constitution, we have deemed it fit that we have to come in and lend our voice to the current situation, which affects squarely the welfare and well-being of our children.
So what we want to know, how do you normally go about this? Do you sometimes engage the affected parties? For example, the Sierra Leone Teachers Union, have you in any way engaged them to actually know what the situation is? In as much as they have their pressers all over the place, you must have engaged them as an institution that actually want to seek the welfare of these institutions. Have you in any way done that?
No, quite frankly, we haven't. What we have done by our press statement is to call on government, which is not wrong, because from their own, from SLTU statement, we see the issues they are demanding to be addressed. And it is our position to lend voice to them. So that is what we have done. If it gets out of hands, and then we can take further steps to engage parties to having an amicable solution around this issue.
Okay, so the other day we had the Deputy Secretary General of SLTU on our program here, and he said they have started receiving some amount of money, but that not all schools, and that in fact there are, for some schools there were shorts of, for example, if you were to be paid 100,000 new loans, they were only paid about 50 or so, 50 or so, or 70% of that amount, and that they will not go back to school if some of these, of all of these monies are not paid. And you and I know this is not only affecting the teachers, but our generation, our young kids that are going to school, that are in the public and government-assisted schools. They are now seated at home, whilst the others in the private schools are going to school.
Yes, so the insistence of teachers asking that their demands are fully met, we consider is as a result of the break of trust, okay? Because don't forget, I noted that this action was suspended in November because government made promises to settle their demands, but they did not, they failed, right? And now that we are in September, the teachers have considered that if they promised us in November 2024 to settle our demands, and those demands were not settled, now in September that we have executed this nationwide strike action, we would only go back to the classrooms, not on promises, but on the fulfillment of our demands. And that is why they are insisting. So if even government would say, okay, we're 70% into settlement, they are saying because there has been a break in the trust they have, because of promises unfulfilled, they are not going without having all these demands 100% fulfilled. Now, I saw a press release.
Yes, because there was a
these are the
release
issues.
Of government.
Yes, but the teachers are saying
school pupils and teachers should go back to school on the dates that the schools were supposed to be.
Yes, on the pretext that they had settled the demands, the subsidies. But then when we inquired from the teachers union, they said nothing. In fact, that is a fake release. That was a fake release. Yes. So these are the issues that has broken that have broken the trust between the teachers and the government. And that is why they are saying all of those 9 issues have to be resolved fully.
So, but in you and I know it's going to be very difficult for these issues to be met, especially when we are already in the school year. Schools have reopened. Pupils in the private schools are far ahead with their classes, and those in the government and government-assisted schools are still at home waiting for the teachers to go back to school. And here is another issue that they want teachers, some of the teachers whose names were removed, should also be
reinstated.
And the deputy secretary was there the other day. He said they promised that these monies were going to be paid in the previous month, July. And they pay. The salaries were paid, but their names were not included. Therefore, they were not paid. And now they are doing another verification, which they said they did in June, and another one. Government has asked that they should do another verification. So the issues are very complex. As an institution advocating for the right, in fact, the development of Sierra Leone, don't you think you also should engage these teachers to let them know that maybe if all the subsidies are paid, because for government to meet that nine issues they are asking for, it's going to be very difficult. You and I know.
Yes. So in our press release dated 9th September, which was on Tuesday, the last paragraph there states that we're encouraging the teachers not to shut the doors on further dialogues and negotiations. Of course, we know there are challenges in fulfilling all of the 9 demands, but I tell you what I think government should do is be honest with the teachers, tell them that identify the pressing ones. Among the 9 issues, there must be pressing ones. One I note is the resumption of the supply of school and learning materials, teaching and learning material. That is very, very paramount, because that has not been addressed for the past 3 years by what we know, right? And so it stifles the efficiency of the teachers. How would they be teaching our children in school without the school teaching and learning materials? So that is fundamental. So that is one of the paramount things government can identify and say, okay, we are sorting this out. The next one could be paying the subsidies. Don't forget, these subsidies were due last year. Okay? They have not paid the last academic year's subsidies, and for the first term of this new school year. So government can take those 2 and say, okay, we will address these 2 or some other 2, making 4 or 5 or whatever the case may be, and then we'll give a timeline to address the others. We're not saying that we will say they have to address all. That is the position of the teachers. But we're saying, we're canvassing for dialogues and negotiations so that we can get to a point for the better of our children who are now at home and going into the second week. It would be a further embarrassment to government and to us parents. Some parents even fought to the nail to get some money so that they can meet the deadline of providing for their children to go to school on Monday. Some borrowed money, they loaned money, and now Monday was there, and the reopening of school was altered. And this is Friday, nothing has been done. Yes, we understand that there is going to be an engagement with the Vice President. We hope it doesn't go to the second.
So this is not the first time the SLTU is being engaged by the Vice President. Yeah. I'm sure they had a previous engagement, and it was because of that engagement that the ministry or whoever put out that press release that teachers should go back to the classroom together with the pupils. But that engagement, from what we've seen now, for me, is nothing to write home about, because if you have had that engagement and then the teachers refuse to go to the classroom, then there's no headway. However, we had the Deputy Director of Budget here the other day. He was with the SLTU man, and he said they have paid 100% of those monies, according to what he said. He said the issue is because of the different banks, the community banks that some of the schools have their accounts with. He said it will take time for the monies to reflect But he said they have paid. We have him in the studios. He was sitting right where you are sitting now. And he said that. So maybe we hope for a better outcome by the time we come to Monday.
Yes, true. So again, it comes back to what I have been saying, that's trust. Because if the deputy director of budget was here saying that they have paid the money, but it is not yet reflected into the accounts of the schools, and the teachers are saying, no, we cannot go back to the classroom unless we see evidence of payment, it's about the trust and the previous engagement. That, okay, the teachers are concerned that we engage and you promise to address our issues. Once we get back to the class, you do nothing. And we have to come back to the same position. So now they're saying we need to see evidence. The issue of trust. That is what I have been saying. That is why government has to be honest with the teachers and ensure that what they say is done.
All right. Thank you very much. He is Claude Bami Davis, and he is the PRO for Lawyers Society. He is here to talk more on their press release, and definitely we'll be bringing him back because the other issue we are going to discuss also concerns Mr. Davis. We continue with the program. Sierra Leone recently enacted the Criminal Procedure Act of 2024, which repeals the 1965 Criminal Procedure Act and introduces comprehensive reforms to the criminal justice system, including time limits for trials, alternative sentencing, enhanced witness protection, and provisions for electronic evidence. The 2024 Act aims to create a more efficient, equitable, and human rights-focused justice system, with a commencement date set for September 16, 2025. Key reforms in the Criminal Procedure Act of 2024 include expediting trials, alternative sentencing, human rights focus, among others. Well, in the studio with us this morning is the PRO of the Judiciary of Sierra Leone, Moses Kamara. Good morning, Mr. Kamara. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning.
So we have to bring in Mr. Davis because they are in the court. They are always there, and some of these things that we are discussing center around them. So let's talk about what brought about this reform.
Well, I think the need for it is very significant, and for us to catch up with international standard as well. Now, let us imagine we are using 1965 Public Order Act. We have so many laws that are outdated. Even when you look at the Offences Against the Person Act of 1861, you see we are still using them. They are not of modern standard. So the 1965 Public Order Act is older than most of us here.
So what took you guys this long to do this?
Well, it's all started, the act that we are talking about now that will take effect on the 16th, it all started in 2010. For you to do reforms, you need to have consultative meetings with people all over the country, get their views, what they want to see. So that is why you are seeing so many beautiful things in the new act, simply because the voice of the people are inputted into it. So we want to say it's a long time, yeah, but it is now here, and we thank God for that, because it's an act that will look at judicial fairness, it will look at alternative sentences, as you likely said, and there are so many things looking at expeditious trial, and it will address so many issues. One of them is the issue of prolonged adjournment. We want to show and believe that it will be things of the past, and we want to see it will also address the issue of overcrowding at various correctional sentences with the introduction of new form of sentencing. It will help to reduce government expenditure. So a lot of things that are embedded in the new CPA that will be good for every one of us, because today you are a free man, tomorrow you will come in contact with the law or in conflict with the law, then you will enjoy the beauty of this new act.
Okay, so I'm going to hold it there and come back to Mr. Davis, because he is a lawyer. They are always in the court, and you know, I have had the privilege of staying around them, of them grumbling of some of the things in this particular act. So, Mr. Davis, how you, as lawyers, how happy, if I could say so, are you to get this new reform?
Alright, so first of all, we want to thank the Office of the Attorney General, the judiciary, and all the related stakeholders, right, for bringing out a beautiful act, okay, a new act. I always say, times evolve, okay, things are happening, and we should be reactive to the change of times, okay? And this act is good because it seeks to address certain gaps that were in the 1965 Criminal Procedure Act. However, we are concerned as practitioners. I have had this discussion with several other colleagues. We're concerned about the removal of the judge and jury trial. You know, there is, I'm not here to play any political card, but there is this prominent issue we have with the Palo trial. Okay, we realize the role of the jury in that trial. And now if we're saying you're removing 12 people who used to be part of the trial with the judge, and now leaving it only to the judge, you only have one conscience there, who is the judge. But with the juries, you have 13 consciences. The judge is there to hold the law, the jury is there to hold the facts. So this is one of our concerns.
So in as much as you are happy for this, you also have a major concern about the removal of the jury and
judge and jury trial. Yes, that is one. The other issues are, we now have beautiful provisions regarding sentences. You having suspended sentences, like if you commit an offense and you're convicted, minor offenses, which we call misdemeanors, you're given a suspended sentence to say, go, you're not going to be held into custody now, go. But in the event that within 12 months, you commission any other offense, this sentence that we are sending, which is a suspended sentence, will be will take effect, right? So that is the suspended sentence. Now, our concern with the suspended sentence, I think Mr. Kamara will clarify, is the issue of data. How would, what are the mechanisms put in place by the judiciary or the correctional center or all of the judicial review commission sectors, right? What are the mechanisms to know that Claude Bami Davis was convicted in 2025, January? And 2020, by December...
Does that mean that the judiciary does not have
well, that is
organized...
no, that is our concern, so maybe he would throw light into that.
Yes,
these are the issues
we are just engaging because you have to leave.
Yes,
well,
so the data, do they have, how they keep records, and who supervises community? There are those that will be sent on community service or punishment. Say, go and sweep the surroundings of the cotton tree for 3 months. Who would be supervising that offender every morning to ensure that he leaves his house, because he's not in custody, he's not with prisons or the correctional center? Who supervises him for him to leave his house every day to go to cotton tree and sweep the cotton tree?
All right.
So these are the...
We hold it there and we come to Mr. Kamara, who is the PRO of the judiciary. So, Mr. Kamara, we have to come to the concerns of the lawyers, because I know he is one lawyer, and some of the things he is saying now, you have so many lawyers there who will be saying the same thing. But for now, let's talk about this new this new CP, the repeal of the 1965 Criminal Procedure Act, and the introduction of these new reforms that you have come with. How do you think that will help to bring justice to the people of Sierra Leone?
Well, it will help a lot, you understand, and that is why we embarked in effective sensitization on the content of the CPA, you understand. Mind you, the 1965 is still effective on the 15th, maybe the 15th, 1159, it will be the final date of that act and will usher in the new CP.
So let's say on Tuesday it will be different.
Yes, but let me say this. Like I said, it will address overcrowding. We've introduced new form of sentencing and also the bail conditions, you understand. You know, we have the bail policy. And the principal act by then on the bail policy currently is the 1965 Section 79 of the 1965 Criminal Procedure Act. But from the 16 we'll be using Section 76 of the new CPE. Now, people have been saying, like, with the new CPE, bail will be granted, A, B, C, and D. But let me just make this clear. The provision there, it says for heinous offenses, like for instance, when it comes to murder, treason, robbery with aggravation, bail should be granted, but by a judge. But when you come to the bail regulation, which is effective, it tells you that you cannot just come, there are three categories, you understand, or wherein bail should be considered. You have one in a situation wherein, upon first appearance, it is compelling on the magistrate for them to give bail. For minor offenses, like for instance, of which conviction is not exceeded 5 years, you understand, bail should be granted. And for all traffic offenses, you understand, besides motor manslaughter, bail should be granted. And for that category, like criminal trespass, all traffic offenses, upon first appearance, you should be given self-bail, you understand. And that has been into effect. But what I want to make clear, it is not for all offense, like people have been saying that we are legal communicator, they have been writing articles without looking at the content, without even understanding the spirit of the new act. There's a spirit behind it, you understand. So it says for heinous offenses, we are not saying bail should not be granted, but we have to look at first the offense. You understand? And what the law says about that offense, the nature of the offense. You cannot expect somebody commit an offense of murder upon first appearance, second appearance, you think that person should be granted bail.
So Mr. Kamara, from what Mr. Davis said just now, he's not talking about these heinous offenses you are talking about. He was just saying for minor offenses.
No, I'm not answering, I'm answering your question.
Okay.
You understand? When it comes to the issue of sentencing, let me go there now. When it comes to the issue of sentencing, we have introduced the new CPA. It is there that you have community sentencing, you have suspended sentences, and you have what we call defer sentences, adding to the existing sentences, which are fines and custodial sentence. So you'll find out that the new act is moving away from this aspect of keeping people that have made honest error in the form of crime, people that have committed an offense within huge aspects of intent, you understand, to ensure that they should not be kept in prison. Now, he talked about monitoring. In all of these three new offenses, it tells you that one, if somebody has committed an offense and the person has been found guilty by law and the person is sentenced for a term imprisonment not exceeding 2 years, it says that person consideration should be given for the optional sentences. Now, suspended sentence, it tells you if the person is moving around, you understand, the person has been convicted, but the person will not be taken to prison. They will say, okay, we've listened to you, we think maybe it's an honest error, you were not aware it was an offense, but now you have been sentenced. But you will not be taken to prison. You will be moving as a free man. But within the period of 12 months, as he said, you understand, for any crime committed, we will not determine whether you are convicted or not. But at the end of the day, if you are tried and you are convicted within that 1 year, you will now be committed to prison to do the original sentence, which is 2 years. How it will be monitored. Now, let me just say, for any sentence once somebody has been sentenced, it is not within the mandate of the judiciary as to how he will conduct his sentence. It is between the correctional center and the state. But I have an idea. I know, because I was, like I said, I was employed to ensure that we embark on public education.
Okay.
Now, if somebody has committed a community sentence, you are sentenced on community punishment, as stated in section 177. It tells you that this person will work in public place. If we send somebody at Slbc that this person has been convicted and he is serving community service, let him come and clean Slbc. It is upon the management of Slbc to ensure that that person comes every day and reports.
Mr. Kamara, this is a good idea, but don't you think this is a recipe for criminals to be moving within our community?
No, well, that is why we said minor. I use certain words.
Yeah.
I said minor offenses that are committed without the.
It is from these minors that will get them into big issues.
Do you know what it takes for you to be convicted and you put on your prison shirt? You leave your house, everybody knows that's a prison uniform. You leave your house, you come and clean at Slbc. Do you know what it takes? It's more, for me, it's more than custodial sentence. Do you know what it takes when you are given a suspended sentence? You are not in prison, but you are restricted that you should not commit any other offense.
Okay.
Do you know what it takes?
So why the removal of the judge and jury trial? Why?
The jury trial, what many are saying is as being the aspect of fairness. It is rooted on the aspect of fairness. It is rooted because there were questions on judge's decision. I agree with him, but now let us say you cannot, if this trial, this CPA is talking about expeditious trial, you understand, without the jury trial, we have other sets of, we have an appellate structure which Mr. Cole is aware of, you understand, and if Mr. Davis is aware of, you understand. Assuming that you think a judge has taken a decision that you think it's very unfair, because it is an aspect of unfairness, you appeal. Then you will go to the Court of Appeal, wherein you will have 3 experienced judges that have served long time in the bench, they have experience, and 3 of them will determine your appeal. And assuming that the judges at the Court of Appeal refuse or uphold the decision of the High Court, you have a beautiful structure as well. You can go to the Supreme Court, and there you have 5 experienced judges. So in other words, getting the 12
So we come back to the issue of fairness. You know, how effective is the system we are talking about, the judiciary, to be able to make sure that everyone, now you're saying, if you think you are not okay with whatever comes out of the judgment of a particular judge, you have another level that you will go. But the question is how effective and how fair that will be.
Listen, our judges,
and how impartial.
Our judges, when you talk about fairness, you put the law aside first. Our judges are parents. You understand? Our judges are human beings. Our judges are religious people. Our judges do pray. Our judges understand what is suffering, what is joy. They are not living on planet Earth. We have been doing it. They have been doing their work. They have been sentencing people, and people have been happy with it. You understand? I can give you several examples wherein we went to prisons, wherein inmates are telling us that we do appreciate this sentence, we do okay with this sentence. I think we need to have confidence on the moral conscience of our judges. And we believe they have been doing it, and they can do it as well. So, and the appellate structure is there.
So are you aware of some of the surveys that are being done in the country? Recently we have the one from IGR or so and all that, and the judiciary is one of those institutions that had a very low score, you know, in the trust from the confidence of the public do not have enough confidence and trust in the judiciary. So why do you think the lawyers who are in the court already will get that confidence?
No, he is not talking about he doesn't have confidence.
No, I'm not talking about
the lawyers they are raising, or the law society.
No, I'm not talking about the law society.
No, the lawyers. You said they are raising concern. That's how will we address this. Okay, let me tell you, the judiciary from 2016 we have what we call the Justice Act for the judiciary, and the essence of the Justice Act, when you come to court, will have your data. They are in iCloud. You understand? We have it there. When you are convicted, we have your records. We've worked on it. We've seen it. We've been to places wherein we've seen repeated offenders, those that we've left or we've discharged at correctional center, male correctional center, or convicted, they have completed their conviction, their sentences, then they move to bail. We've seen them there. We are able to identify them through our records. You understand? And besides the aspect of records, there are other ways judges and magistrates can identify repeated offenders. But for us, we have a Justice Act, which he knows about. Everybody, we have been communicating this to people, that we have a Justice Act. It is time for us to see, when we start the pushing or rolling out the provisions in the CPA, then we'll see what we can do. But we have it. But when it comes to the issue of convicted inmates, it is the ultimate responsibility of the prison department to ensure that they are monitored, not the judiciary.
All right, thank you very much. He is Moses Kamara, and he is the PRO of the judiciary of Sierra Leone. This is Good Morning Sierra Leone. We still have Claude Bami Davis with us in the studios, and we go back to you, Mr. Davis. I know you want to comment on some of the things Mr. Kamara is saying, but we really want to focus on the SLTU issue because this concerns all of us. And now, as Lawyer Society, do you always wait? Do you always sit by to look out for issues happening for you to just come in and say, no, we are condemning this, or we are drawing the attention of government to this, or do you engage before some of these issues do happen?
Sometimes we engage. You know, our approach takes various forms. Sometimes we engage, all right. Even when we engage, we don't have to disclose our mode of engagement. We consult, okay. But one primary focus is, once there is a voice of complaint, we would not want to sit by and not add our voice to that. So when we note, you see, as I noted, when we realized that this strike action was to have commenced or was to have been executed since November, but there was a hold on it, and now this is September, 10 months after, we're here again at the same position. That is what necessitated us to say something. So we cannot sit by without questioning or without adding a voice, so that it does not appear that it's only the teachers. There are stakeholders. There are other institutions. As we say, we have to contribute to governance, rule of law, and democracy. And because this is also a constitutional matter, it's part of a constitution, 1991 constitution, under the objectives of the government to provide education. So we have not only come because we want to talk for teachers, we want to lend a voice to teachers' cry. No, we have come because it hinges on the law, and we're calling on government, we're urging government. You know, that is why we have lent our voice to it, and we expect the government to treat this seriously.
So what about the teachers? What's your message to them?
We're saying, of course, we understand that their welfare is paramount, because if they don't have all of these things addressed, their efficiency is stifled and their services would not be proper. So whilst we are cognizant of their demands, we're saying they should not shut the door to further engagement, and if they have reasons to bend backwards and accommodate some position if government could not address all of their demands at this time. We're not saying government should not address all, but maybe at this time, so they don't go into the second week with a strike action. They can give timeline. Okay, we're accepting 1, 2, 3, 4 positions that have been addressed. The 5 remainder, please address them by January of 2026. So that is what we're canvassing for.
All right, thank you very much. He is Claude Bami Davis, and he is the PRO for Lawyers Society. This is Good Morning, Sierra Leone. We'll definitely have to engage some other lawyers to talk about these new reforms in the judiciary of Sierra Leone. We now go for a short break, and when we come back, we continue to talk to the PRO of the judiciary of Sierra Leone.
As a mother of the house, whenever I want to prepare palm soup, there's no need pounding palm fruit. All I need is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. My soup is done, and its preparation, it is not difficult at all. Nkulenu palm soup base, it's easily done with no difficulties. Just take few ladles and your soup is done. And its flavor, it's amazing. This is Nkulenu's Ghana's original palm soup base. And this is Nkulenu's Ghana's original spiced palm soup base. Iron fruit and turkey berries are naturally added.
Also available brown gold natural cocoa powder, sunny gold brown sugar, neat fufu flour, shito, pisa, and moringa. All available at Nyami Ado Enterprise, 1 Lower Waterloo Street, Freetown.
Nkulenu palm soup base.
Ghanaian original taste.
This is Good Morning, Sierra Leone, and we are broadcasting live from Broadcasting House, New Englandville in Freetown. You can add your voice to the program by sending your comments and views to the number on your screen, or you go to our Facebook page, Slbc Tv Live, and you can also find us on all other social media handles. We still continue with the program, and we still have the PRO of the Judiciary of Sierra Leone in the studios with us, Moses Kamara. But for now, let's take our health tips for today. And in today's health tips, we take a look at how to start an anti-inflammatory diet. The food you eat and those and the ones you avoid can help soothe and even prevent inflammation by quashing your body's inflammatory responses. This video shares why and how you can begin an anti-inflammatory diet.
Hello, my name is Julia Zumpano. I'm a registered dietitian for the Center of Human Nutrition at the Cleveland Clinic. How can you tell if you have inflammation in the body? Inflammation in the body is a reaction to a toxin or a foreign body that the body tends to attack. So that attack response creates inflammatory responses in our body that can be acute, meaning just short term, or can be chronic or long term. The chronic inflammation is the concerning kind, which leads to several disease states if not treated and handled well. Some people may not associate the symptoms they're experiencing with inflammation. Inflammation can present itself in many different ways. It can come in the form of body aches or muscle pain, migraine headaches, general headaches or fatigue, allergies, an allergic reaction to food or the environment. What is an anti-inflammatory diet? An anti-inflammatory diet is not a diet per se, but more of a style of eating. It is designed to reduce inflammation in the body, therefore entails whole foods, minimally processed foods, one ingredient foods. When you think of one ingredient foods, it can be a little bit confusing, but we really want to focus on very simple foods such as an apple or grapes or avocado, chicken, extra virgin olive oil. So simple ingredient foods that you can place together to create a meal, but really want to focus on minimizing any processed ingredients. Now you can place all those whole foods together, such as in a chicken vegetable soup, where there's more than one ingredient, but everything that is put in that chicken vegetable soup are one ingredient items. What's the best way to start an anti-inflammatory diet? The best way to start an anti-inflammatory diet is to look at the foods you're currently consuming and focus on beginning to cut back on the processed foods, sugary foods, or sugary beverages that you're consuming. That is really the first step, is to pinpoint which foods are highly processed and could be contributing to the inflammation. A great example of an anti-inflammatory diet is the Mediterranean diet, because it really encourages omega-3 fatty acids. And we know through proven research that omega-3 fatty acids suppress inflammation. They combat that inflammation in our body. And omega-3s are mainly found in fatty fish, which is a staple of the Mediterranean diet. You don't have to specifically follow a Mediterranean diet, but that is one good example. Is there any way to figure out your specific triggers? Oftentimes, people may have specific triggers that trigger inflammation for their body. An elimination diet is really the best way to pinpoint what those food triggers may be for you. An elimination diet is where you eliminate what you feel may be the potential triggers for a period of time. I generally recommend at least 3 weeks where you completely eliminate the food from your diet. It can be tricky, it has to be very personalized. So I highly recommend seeking help from a health professional or specifically a registered dietitian. How can a dietitian help you on your journey? Registered dietitians do this all the time. So we really understand what ingredients and what foods could be triggers. We help give you guidelines and lists of foods to eliminate. We're there to support you throughout the way, and we're also there to help you understand your reaction to the food.
Well, I guess you've learned a lot from that particular video. We continue with the program with Mr. Kamara in the studio. Now, Moses, let's talk about this new act. Let's talk about the human rights aspect of the new act, because it's one of the areas that this new act is focusing. Let's look at it. What are some of the reforms?
Now, obviously, human rights in the general aspect of the law is very, very significant. They start telling you the aspects of human rights right from the time you are studying law. In fact, it's cut across in all law modules, like the 1998 Human Rights Act and other relevant documents as well. In this act, it is embedded just as it is embedded in the Constitution. I think there are provisions in the Constitution we talk about human rights. When it talks about the issue of the granting of bail, it's a human rights issue. Not that exclusively there's a provision on human rights per se, but in the execution of various provisions, you see the rights of human rights. For instance, it says within certain period a matter should be completed at the magisterial level, whether it should be determined whether that matter should be committed or not at the magisterial level. You understand there's a provision of that as well. So it's a human rights issue. It tells you the issue of sentencing for minor offenses. Somebody, we should do our best for somebody not to be taken into custodial sentence. So all that is a human rights issue. Our matter should be tried at the Superior Court of Judicature. It's also a human rights issue. So every bit of it, you look at the bail condition, it is also a human rights issue. So the good thing about this act, at every stage, the thing that is projecting is the right of the accused person. So
let's talk about this bail that you are talking about. Even before now, when you go to police stations or you go to places in the court, they will tell you bail is free. But it's totally different when it comes to reality. How effective and how active is this new act going to speak to that?
When they are talking about bail is free, they are not saying you should not give equilateral. You understand? Like if you want to they are talking about the unwanted financial attachments wherein people are asking which are not placed in the orders. Now, for instance, if you come to court, I don't want to speak on behalf of the police because somebody was was asking, what about the use of force that police normally do? We know it is wrong actually, but I'm not here to speak on behalf of the police, but I'm here to speak on behalf of the judiciary. You understand? When it comes to the judiciary, when we talk about the issue of bail, for bail to be granted, there must be a bail application. You do an application for a bail, and let us assume that the magistrate or the judge has granted that bail. We cannot give you a bail without a condition. So for you, once a bail is given and you meet to the condition, maybe a judge will say bail is granted to an accused person based on your application, but we want the accused person to come with a title deed like what we call quote-unquote post-book. You understand? These are conditions, and each and every bail condition stated by the judge or the magistrate, you cannot fulfill half of it, and you think you should be released, or you should be released from prison.
So let me clear this one. Is it possible, for example, Francis, that I've been granted a bail by a judge, for me to bail myself?
Yes, for certain offences, we have what we call self-bail. It is provided for in the bail regulation that for minor offences like all motor manslaughter cases, all traffic offences besides motor manslaughter, you can be given self-bail. You understand? Okay, also all minor offences like criminal trespass, when you enter somebody's compound without his permission, is an offence. For offences of abusive language or abusive words is an offence as well. So upon first appearance, no magistrate will refuse the bail of somebody. In fact, if that happens, the current Chief Justice, in fact, is always frowning at that. There are magistrates that have been suspended, that have committed shots, and they have done shot again. We don't have a room for it, you understand? So once bail is given for minor offences, it is mandatory, it is compelling on the magistrate to ensure that bail is granted.
All right, thank you very much. Continue to stay with us. We now go to another issue. Vice President Dr. Mohammed Jude Chalo has said that revenue mobilization is the cornerstone for sustainable financing in countries with smaller economies, and therefore there was no better time to look for innovative ways of national revenue mobilization than now. VP Jalo was speaking at the Bintumani International Conference Center while delivering the keynote address for the commencement of the 2026 financial year budget process on the theme enhancing traditional and innovative sources of domestic revenue mobilization to finance the Big Five changes agenda. My colleague Dennis Fraser was there and he filed in this report.
Parliament shall, subject to the Constitution, approve the state budget.
Our task is to listen carefully.
The national policy hearing for the 2026 fiscal year provided a platform for leveraging on opportunities for the transformation and development of the nation. The gathering also sets the tone for discussion on policies that will inform government spending in the 2026 budgetary year, while articulating technical steps and setting the direction for spending in line with national development agenda.
We are expanding capital baseline cost profiling to 15 MDAs, covering 85% of the domestic capital budget to improve project prioritization and enhance budget credibility.
According to the Minister of Finance, Sheku Ahmed Fantamadi Bangura, in the midst of global economic downturn and mounting fiscal pressures, coupled with economic shocks and seizure on foreign aid, there was need for stronger coordination and fiscal discipline in line with the country's medium-term national development plan for 2024 to 2030. Although the medium-term national development plan has had a financing gap of about $2.5 billion, but was seen as the government blueprint for streamlining economic growth.
We are pleased to report that for the first time in a couple of years, we've been able to establish strong fundamentals in our macro space. We've been able to record single-digit inflation since April 2025 at 9.3%.
Reflecting on the theme, enhancing traditional and innovative sources of domestic revenue mobilization to finance the Big Five Game Changers agenda. The Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Jule Jallo, who was concerned about the alarming rise in population, urged budgetary agencies to not only present realistic budgets, but also stress the need for urgent innovative domestic resource mobilization.
I will talk on 4 levels. The first one is continue to address corruption and leakages. That is not a good friend to domestic revenue mobilization. The second point is how do we improve accountability, both in the public sector and the private sector as well. Getting business people to pay the right taxes, and also in the public sector, improve accountability that every penny counts.
As the 2026 budget process continues in coming days, it was crystal clear that realistic budget framework was an effective way in bringing innovative financing pathways that will guide the future of the country's economy. This is also demonstrated in the government's effort for systematically declining inflation over the years from about 54% to a single digit of less than 7% in July this year. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
Many thanks to Dennis Fraser for that report. We still have Mr. Khan in the studio. Now, Moses, this new act is very good, according to what we've heard from you, so many goodies. However, it needs public education. You need the public to know more about it, not only the people in Sierra Leone, but even those in the remote places. How are you going about that?
Well, obviously, when laws are passed or enacted, obviously you have to embark on effective public education. We've seen various people have been doing extremely well. For instance, like the Minister of Justice, he has been on media himself embarking on public education on this act. We've seen some obviously some flyers that have been moving around in social media, and you've seen the Honorable Chief Justice himself giving us permission to ensure we embark on public education. I'm pretty sure on the CJ's plates, he will want us to go everywhere, and I'm pretty sure he will do it to ensure that we embark on public education. Because we have a large stake into this, and we will ensure that we embark on massive, effective public education on the content and for people to understand. So in a situation wherein our magistrates or whosoever that is working within the judiciary go against the principles of this law or the spirit of the law, or the CPA, then information or complaint will be filed in, and it will reach obviously the Honorable Chief Justice.
How members of the judiciary being properly educated about these new laws?
Obviously, there has been massive training long before now, and mind you, like I said, the CJ himself and other judges, they were part of it, who will embark on effective training on that, and also will embark on effective public education.
All right, thank you very much. Well, this is how we bring the curtain down for today's edition of the program, Good Morning Sierra Leone, where we end with our quote of the day, which is from Indian educator Vinoba Bave, and it says, "Do not allow yourself to imagine the revolutionary thinking can be propagated by governmental power." Well, many thanks to our producer Daphne Zainab Kamara for putting this program together, and also to the technical team. I have been your presenter, Frances Bernard, wishing you a wonderful and lovely day, and do enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.
Here's how to register for Salon Payment Switch using AfriMoney. Dial *161#. Select option 1. Go to option 4 for Salon Payment Switch. Select option 2 for account registration. Select 1 to register your alias, which is your phone number. Enter your PIN to confirm. You will receive an SMS confirming your registration. AfriMoney, quick and easy.
My name is Kenema J. Bangora, Commissioner General of the National Revenue Authority, and I am honored to extend a warm welcome to all our regional and international partners as Sierra Leone prepares to host one of the most important gatherings on our calendar, the WATA 2025 High-Level Policy Dialogue on Financing Development through Effective Tax Systems, and the 21st General Assembly, which will be held from the 15th to the 19th of September 2025. At the National Revenue Authority of Sierra Leone, we are proud to host these events because we believe that effective tax systems are the cornerstones of nation building. We are committed to delivering a world-class event, one that promotes knowledge sharing, inspires reforms, and strengthens partnerships. On behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, the board of directors, and the entire NRA family, I invite you to join us in Freetown this September. Let's work together to shape a tax future that truly supports the development aspiration of West Africa. Welcome to WATA 2025. Welcome to Sierra Leone.